Hello, everyone. And I want to welcome you to Conversation with the Pastor. And I am so glad that you decided to join us today. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to my special guest today, and we're going to be talking about surviving the business of dying. Look, I'm telling you, look, don't cut out, don't go away. It's not that serious, but it is that serious. And you're going to want to know some of the things that we're going to share with you today. But as always, we need to go to our moment in prayer. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to share with you some of the things that our special guest, Mary Jane Charles, has shared with me. So hold on, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Hi, welcome to A Moment in Prayer. I want to take this time to read a prayer that was sent to me by a friend, Yasmin Brown. So, as always, we love you and we appreciate you stopping and taking the time as we go through prayers before we start our show. So, will you bow your head, please, as we go through the prayer? Thank you for always covering for me and being with me each step I take. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for the gift of vision. Thank you for providing for me every need that I have, God. In Jesus' name, I thank you. I am calling for your disruption and invasion into my life. Father, disrupt everyday routines that are causing undesirable results. In Jesus' name. Father, disrupt thoughts, processes that consume my mind, things that sabotage my life, Lord. Make me, make me no longer doubt myself in the things that you have for me to do. Father, I'm calling for your invasion to invade my mind, my heart, my desire, and my perception in you. Renew me, Father, so that I can walk right. Create in me a new image, God. You are the great I am, and there's nothing you cannot do. I am in you and you are in me. I love you so much and I lift your name on high. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Thank you once again for a moment in prayer. Welcome back. Welcome back. Look, I'm here today with you. And of course, I'm here with the fabulous Camille Robb. And we're happy to have you here today. One of the things that we're going to be talking about today is a topic that I know no one wants to discuss, okay? But it is so much needed, okay? And the reason why it's needed is because some of the things that we talk about when we talk about surviving uh, the moment of death or after death or what during death, there's some things that we really need to know about that person and what goes on in their life. So we're going to actually bring our special guest that's going to enlighten us about some things, Mary Jane Charles. And I'm excited to have her to share some of the things in this new book and this guide that she has with us. So we know about surviving the business of death. Welcome, Mary Jane, to Conversation with the Pastor.
Hi, and thank you for having me again. This is lovely. I was on your porch talk, I think about a year or so ago. So it's
Absolutely.
delightful
Absolutely.
to be here as well.
Thank you. I'm going to share a little bit. that Mary Jane shared with me about her. And she says while she tells a story about surviving the business of death, it's
Excuse
all
me.
go ahead.
It's surviving the
of,
business of
of
dying.
dying. Okay. While final papers matter, and it has a companion workbook that let me get this straight, okay? I read this and all of a sudden everything is becoming jimble jungle to me. So it's why final papers matter and its companion workbook are at once warm, humorous, and in part and thought provoking in the best of ways. She eliminates fear, providing peace of mind for all concerns. And I said that to say this, okay? What Mary Jane has to offer us is actually not going to be as bad as we think it's going to be. So I'm going to give Mary Jane a chance to get us started with her story and what kind of went on in her life that caused her to write this booklet and this guide.
So my story, first of all, my book is not intended to be a sad story. I wrote it out of complete frustration, and so it was cathartic for me to get all the gremlins out of my head. But I realized more than halfway through that 80% of what I'd written was avoidable if you only write things down. So my husband and I were on our way to meet with his partner. He had been sick, but refused to go to a doctor. He consulted Google. Don't do that. Go to a doctor. That make everybody crazy if nothing else. So go to a doctor. But that said, we were on the way to meeting his partner. I said, I'm driving because he was too weak from not sleeping. We arrived at our destination. I looked over and he was gone. He had literally died in the car seat next to me.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I don't know what I thought. Uh, it was hot, so some man in a car on either side said, "You're having a problem. I'll call 911." Okay, and within an hour, I was in an ER sitting, waiting for people to arrive, and a doctor came to me and asked for his final papers, meaning a medical directive. Well, hold that thought. 10:30 that morning, I had asked him once again, let's sign this. You're not getting it. No, I'm not signing anything. And so I, all of a sudden it occurred to me, I'd had the medical directive for a month, 2 months, and I've always had my phone. So I said, let me read it and I'll record it. He said, yes. I almost fell off my chair. 20 minutes later, I had the medical directive videotaping him. He could barely speak, so he was either shaking his head or nodding. And I phrased the questions in a yes or no manner. I had his directive right on my phone. So who knew 4.5 hours later I would be asked for his final directive. I told the doctor I have my phone. He'd never seen that before. He was thrilled. He could actually see his patient a few hours earlier. He borrowed the phone, I'm sure, to go ask the powers that be if it could be acceptable, and it was. And that was that. There was no more treatment pointed at my husband. He was allowed to die naturally. So, if for nothing today, please go online. Every state has their medical directives online. If you move recently, get one for the state you're currently living in, just in case, so you do not need any extra conversation. They will accept it. Um, that conversation will be put at ease, one less thing for you to even begin to think about in the worst of circumstances. So that's how this started. Um, I was launched into an arena that I never dreamt of. There were no papers, not a will, no instructions. And I made my way through. Usually, if you have a will, you have an executor, that is the person who makes certain your will uh, works out. My book comes in where somebody has no instructions, there is no will.
All
And
right, hold that thought for a second. Hold that thought. Yeah, so I want people to understand that, and I ran into that a few months ago when my brother had to go to the hospital, and the doctors were asking who is in charge, who's going to speak for him because he was really delirious. He didn't know. Okay, who has the last words when it comes to him? So I was there, his wife was there, but they were asking her because I guess she had left her stuff in the car. I can't even tell you at this point, but they were asking her for identification. Do you have what is it? The power of
Attorney.
yeah, they wanted to know she didn't have that. She was just talking, but she didn't have that. And you know what? It is so, so important. I remember my sister passed away a few months ago, and I thank God I had a power of attorney over her health and her finances. So when people started asking me for it, I had that. But here's the thing, what happens if they're like us? We're on social media and we've got all of these groups and pages and things. But not only that, we've got credit cards and things where maybe our husbands are paying the bill, they're doing everything. And guess what? We're not doing anything. And at the moment something happens to them, oh my God, we are
In
lost.
trouble.
We're
you're
lost.
stuck. Yeah.
We're stuck. So what do we do? So I'm gonna ask Mary Jane. What did you do, Mary Jane?
Well, if I knew none of the above, I was familiar enough with my financials, but not his. Um, and so I quickly learned, because there was no will, whether you're a wife or the eldest in the family, unless you have a legal document appointing you in charge of someone else's affairs, you don't matter. You could be the guy walking down the street. That's how much uh, it means to have your name on something. Preventative, you can be co-signer. You don't have to tell someone they're a co-signer if you don't really like them, but you should like them, and they should be reliable. And what that simply means is they can keep the lights on, they can pay the rent, your bills will continue to mount. And but if you have automatic deposits like Social Security or investment uh, dividends or something, the fact that someone can run your affairs is paramount. Otherwise, all our your little house of cards is going to implode. What I did, I learned at the gate, I needed to have an attorney to be named a personal representative. I happen to live in the state of Washington. That is who takes care of things when there is no will or an executor named for the will. And for that, you really do need an attorney. The eldest son brought me to an attorney the day after my husband died because he knew someone. It was absolutely bizarre to sit and hear this gentleman speak of my husband in the past. It was less than 24 hours, and he's telling me what I need to do. I didn't know the man. I didn't like the man. He couldn't get my name straight. That was never a good sign. I mean, it's Mary Jane. It's not that hard. And he was, putting his hand on the lower of my back. I understand your grief. I'm like, I could say something here. It's like, leave me alone.
Mm.
Don't come near me.
Don't touch me.
Wow.
I was wishing I was Diva on NCIS, where she just moves her hip and the guy is over 4 5. I was not happy on any level. So these men are talking. It was my eldest stepson, a brother-in-law, which I don't know why he was there at all, and this man who I was supposed to be enthralled with to do legal work. I stood up. I thanked them all for their time. I said, this meeting is over. And I went to the door, and they're all like, what is she doing? I was not fit for man or beast. I needed to leave.
Let me ask you this, Mary, though.
Yeah.
What would you tell someone that has it could be children, it could be a companion, or someone that they're taking care of and they're responsible for, but whoever that person is, they really just don't want to give you the information that you need in order to make life easier. So what kind of I know what you did. You said you talked to your husband prior to him passing beside you. You were saying, giving him questions that he could say yes or no to or nod his head to, but you were recording it on the phone.
That was strictly for the medical directive.
Yeah.
And so anything else, pardon me, that's why I started to create my workbook. My friends liked my book and even won an award, but they still had no starting place. So I created my workbook, and it doesn't show, but it's an easy.
I see it.
Oh, do you? Okay. Easy, non-threatening question and answer. It's not your typical legal document, because it's not a legal document. I am not an attorney. I just had a lot of things in my head and I needed to get them on paper. This workbook starts the conversation. And if you know someone is afraid of it, it's nothing to fear. They are leaving instructions. We leave instructions for pet sitters, house sitters, our neighbors when we go on a weekend. This is the same thing. It's simply instructions when you can no longer speak for yourself. It doesn't have to be a death. It doesn't have to be dire circumstances. We hear of people slipping, God forbid, in the bathroom or on the driveway, and they are knocked out. The medical directive kicks in, and from there, you go to the hospital. While we're still talking about the medical directive, I would say that is not intended to be a secret. Make a lot of copies. Put one in your glove compartment, your night table, maybe a reduced copy in your wallet, and then put it in a freezer bag and put it with a magnet on the side of your refrigerator. Tell your sister or your neighbors or whoever comes to your house to visit, what's that on your refrigerator? My medical directive. And the rest of that instruction, God forbid, if the EMTs have to take you, give them a copy and have them tuck it in your clothes so that the hospital knows what you want upon arrival.
All right, we're going to stop there for a moment and we're going to go into a commercial, and then we're going to come back and we're going to go through some of the questions that I have for you. So hold tight.
Watch the CEO Room with your host, Lamont Stephens, on the Daily Gospel Network, the television show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Join us each week as we explore innovative ways to fulfill your God-given mission without sacrificing your quality of life. This is your opportunity to discover the exact strategies and techniques that world-class experts are using to live a freedom lifestyle, make a bigger impact, leave a legacy, and earn more, all while serving others. Catch the CEO Room with host Lamont Stephens every week on the Daily Gospel Network.
Okay, welcome back. For those of you that are just joining us, we're talking about surviving. Let me get it right, okay? Surviving the business of dying and what you need to do. Now, this isn't about your will or anything like that. It's other things when it comes to bank accounts and what do you need to, the information that you need to keep surviving after your loved ones have gone on their spiritual journey. Okay. So, Mary Jane is here and she's going through some of the things that we need to do. But not only that, she's actually created a guide that walks us through the process of knowing some of the things that we need. So, can you just quickly share with us a couple of things that are actually in that guide, Mary Jane?
Certainly. The book starts with the obvious. They want to know if you have a will, what is the attorney's name and phone number? That's it. You're just you're filling in the blanks because these are people who your family will have to speak with. I created a position called the first lieutenant. In the week following the funeral, and without any instructions, I had a huge amount of business to take care of that I never dabbled in before. My son was old enough, he was 28, he drove, he was personable. I gave him a boatload of things to do. You cannot do this by yourself. So, first of all, get an attorney, find someone you like, because they're going to be working for you, not against you. You want them to know you well. And it's not an expense, it's an investment. So, you need an attorney. Number two, put 5 top phone numbers in your phone of people you want contacted if you slip on your driveway and can't speak for yourself. That would be the second. Third, have co-signers on your checking and saving. You can talk with your banker on that. That's free. What are the pros and cons? In your instance, right now, these details are no longer old people conversations. We know the pandemic was horrible and took a lot of young people. Anyone 18 or older should have one of these books. It is the nitty gritty details of your daily life that make your world happen. Your bank, your charge cards, your passwords, uh, family stories, crazy stories that you didn't, people might not know, but they'll get a kick out of if you can no longer speak for yourself.
Absolutely.
I have funeral details. One lady had made great brownies and she never shared the complete recipe. So whatever she did share, those brownies never tasted as people remember. She had it etched on her tombstone. So
Oh, wow.
walking by, I mean, it must have been expensive. It was a long recipe. So
Okay, so pay attention now. She's given us that we need to make sure that we have a will. We need to make sure that we have some phone numbers of people that we trust and that people can call to talk to. We need to have co-signers on our bank accounts and stuff like that. And one thing that I found out is that we can actually have a and or account when you go to the bank. The or means that we need two signatures unless you're in a place where you're unable to make a decision or sign for yourself. And at that point, that is when whoever is on the bank account needs to present a legal form from a lawyer that says that you have a right to speak on behalf of their financial uh, uh, portfolio or whatever it is. And it is very, very simple. Whether it's your husband, whether the bank can make it very, very hard for you or your
About your own
husband
money. Whew.
when it comes to giving money out, or if they're on Social Security and things like that. So it's a lot of different things. And I have actually I think I've gotten 3 or 4 sets of those guides and given them out to my sons and stuff. I'm getting ready to order another copy. I was telling my spiritual daughter about it, so I'm getting another copy so I can send to her. And one of the things was the credit cards. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was like, "Man, if something happens, um, what do we do about the credit cards and stuff?" Boom. If they have a letter, all they have to do is have the credit cards closed.
Yes.
And then
Or
no more information goes, no more bills or anything else is paid through those credit cards once you leave here. But you gotta have that letter. That's where it's 3 different types. A lawyer has to tell you about all of them. I don't have them all, but I know you need the will. I know you need the power of attorney for health. You need the power of attorney for your finances. And then there's another letter that you need that says that it gives you the right to speak on their behalf if something happens to them. Okay. So I'm going to give our fabulous Camille Robb a chance to chime in here before we come back to Mary Jane's and give her a chance to close us out.
You know, hi, Mary Jane.
hi.
I know we've been on this floor before, but one of the things that I love about it is not there's nothing to be afraid of because they say you have 2 things that happen. You're born and then you die,
Mhm.
you know? But one of the main things is to be prepared. And the book that Pastor Dorothy is talking about and your book that you're talking about, to me, everyone should own one because it's preparing you for something that's going to happen regardless of how you feel.
Correct.
No more, right. So everyone should have that. So I'm going to make sure I get one for myself and get it filled out. And then I'm going to make sure my husband fill out.
Thank you for bringing that up. No matter how, yeah, everyone should have their own individual because as you proceed through, you might, well, obviously, childhood's different. I have an area where you can remember the highlights of your childhood. And then for those who are veterans, if someone knows they want to have a military uh, funeral, it's never too soon to gather those documents. From the point of view, somebody will have to find them. So it's a matter of just calling the local VA and they can dig up all your records and you'll have them all in one place. That's the beauty of the workbook. You don't have, well, I know it's here someplace. No, just look for the coloring book size yellow book.
Right.
And you can change things. I recommend people fill it out in pencil because you might look at it 4 or 5 months from now and you're like, what was I thinking? So you can change things. Just put a line through it and put your initials and date it. Because if ever there's a question, somebody could say, well, who changed this answer? This is,
Absolutely.
you don't want any problems. So put a line through and date it and initial it and put your new answer. Every page, the opposite page is blank. So you can put more answers or new answers or your notes or whatever. Absolutely right next to whatever you're reading on the other side.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's all the time we got. Mary
Oh my
Jane, you can
goodness.
Short
put that
and
link
sweet.
in the comment section so that we can actually share it. That would be wonderful. Um, Let me tell you something. It may be a subject that you don't want to talk about, but I'm telling you, don't be afraid. Don't put it off. Sometimes it's closer than you really want it to be that we need these particular things. I'm telling you, I don't ever want to be in a place where I'm lost and I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I want to thank Mary Jane for coming on the show. And I'm going to ask her in a minute to share with us how she can actually be contacted if someone needs to talk to her. She's putting the information about her guide into the comment section, so it will be on Facebook. I'll also make sure that it's shared, so that won't be a problem. And fabulous Camille Robb, you got any last words for us?
Well, we have to be prepared for the unexpected because it's always going to happen. Death is something that's going to come. We don't know when our number is going to be called, but we just got to be prepared. So be prepared, stay blessed, stay safe, and stay absolutely fabulous. And we'll see you
Absolutely.
next week.
We definitely will see you again next Friday on Conversation with the Pastor. And we're going to set up something to get Mary Jane back on the show again because there's so much more that she can share with us. Or maybe we can get her to do a workshop and we'll invite you into the workshop
Oh, that
so
would
we
be
can make
nice. That's a good
sure
idea.
That,
to get this done. Now, here's the thing, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can find us at Conversation with the Pastor on Facebook, on our page, in our group. On YouTube, you can find all of our previous conversations under Women Rocking Life. And then you can catch us every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. Eastern on Daily Gospel Network. So, look, it's been wonderful having you here, and we'll see you again. Thanks for coming on with us, Mary Jane. We'll see you
thank
back
you.
again as well.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies. I
You're
enjoyed it.
welcome.
Thank you for
Bye,
coming.
everyone.
See you
Bye.
soon.